There's no place to escape to.
This is the last podcast.
On the left.
Side stories.
From your glade.
That's when the cannibalism started.
Side stories.
Yes.
Roll my R's. Howdy. Ooh. Is that what it is?
Yep.
Is that a roll in R?
Are we recording? I think that's really, really good. You can't say burrito.
Burrito.
Wow, you can't say Florida.
No, I can't roll my R's. I don't know. I literally have no clue how I can taco my tongue.
No, do you have some form of tongue paralysis?
No, I can taco my tongue. I can do something that only about 10% can do.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now.
No, I'm doing it better than you are.
Oh, you're doing it better than me.
Yes.
Well, this is taco
This is
tongue.
also a radio show, but if you,
I like the silence. A little moment of silence. You can hear the clicky clack of the saliva in his mouth.
it's like a little home for a taquito.
That's too small. As far as I'm concerned, it's too small of a taquito.
I watched a YouTube video of a guy who was addicted to taquitos.
That's called being a fat fuck. Like
he
we are.
wasn't as fat as you would think.
Well, this is us.
Yeah.
I'm addicted to Mexican food too.
No, but all he eats is taquitos. He said in 2018, the first time the taquito dust touched his tongue,
I mean, I get
he
it.
had like a brain. It was
So
like a.
what do you mean by taquito? Because there's Takis. Which
I think Taki.
Yes, that's
thinking
different.
Taki. I'm sorry, but the Taki is a derivative chip form of a taquito.
I feel like that is a whole the
that's
letters
true.
we're gonna receive.
No, that is true.
Just on that one statement.
The fattest thing you could ever do, sucking sour cream with a straw that is a Taki.
Ooh, honestly, that's not a bad idea.
I bet you it would taste good.
Oh, yeah.
Because it would pick up the dust.
Yeah, because that was one of my favorite things at the creek. Were the taquitos.
Oh,
that
they
was
were
my favorite.
very good.
But they really just were a vessel for sour cream and guacamole. Because I still am like that I'm not big on taquitos.
And you know what it is?
Because I like the fresh meat.
Isn't it weird how when you cube something, it tastes different than tomato? I don't want to bite into a tomato, but you cube that tomato, you give it that Taco Bell treatment. I love a bunch of cubed tomatoes, bro.
You just you like
But I like the
place.
texture of it.
So
But I don't like a tomato. Like, I don't eat tomatoes.
So I could put you at the end of like a sous chef line and you'd be fine. Like just eating so if we
One
went
for me, one for you.
Yeah, and then you would just eat the scoops of cubed
Buddy,
tomatoes.
that's what I did when I worked the line. As I was a sous chef at Wendy's.
You were a sous chef at Wendy's. Yeah.
What's up, everyone?
Wow.
Welcome to Side Stories. Ben hanging out with Henry.
Yeah.
Also, we have to sing happy birthday, Chris Watts, the family and
Oh, we really do. I think about him all the time.
Wow.
And you know what? There's been a big deal because Chris Watts saying they're not going to give him any special treatment for his birthday. So happy birthday to you.
Mr. President.
Happy birthday.
Mr. President.
Chris, we're thinking of you. You know who I'm also thinking of is that fucking bitch. We got her. Lori Vallow, guilty on all counts.
Dude.
No reaction. She heard and then she went her new mugshot. You showed it to me. We're talking back and forth.
Piggy tails.
She immediately put the pigtails on. She is moisturized, unbothered, in her lane, does not care, moving forward, already thinking of the branding opportunities.
Yeah, I know life can be hard.
It is.
For
It is.
women.
It is.
But I'm going to say this. I think she's going to have a great time. I think that she's going to live her best life.
Well, people
because
are going to flip
without
for her.
a doubt. Yes, people will flip for her. She will have her own mini cult in prison.
Who knows?
She will. Yes, and she will also be getting her. Speaking of tacos, her sour cream is going to be very well consumed.
Do you think that
without
they in
a
prison,
doubt.
like it's in prison, like you know how like in man prison you have to fight the biggest guy you see? Do you think
Myth.
there you have
Myth.
to eat the biggest clit?
I
Like you
think
have to
so.
fight. All the
Well,
girls
look
got
at
to
the-
show clits, and then whoever got the biggest clits, like Queen of the Rock.
Look at the difference between the shows. Oz, Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, it is different.
The biggest
but they were
problem in
written by-
Orange is the New Black is the toilet is overflowing.
I feel like
How
this
can we
is-
have sex in the shower?
This is all
And in
very
Oz-
complicated issue.
No, it's not. In Oz, everyone was getting reamed in the A until they bled and cried.
It was also it was television.
They're
And it
both
was
TV.
made to it was television, but Oz is all about how scary prison was.
I've watched so many prison shows, and I'm sorry. Lady Prison, sign me up for a day.
We're gonna fucking
Sign me up for a day.
God, just the emails. First of all, we already get enough emails from jail that ask for your hand in marriage that I don't
Yes.
even know.
Number one, distance, my specialty.
Yes, very
Number
much so.
two, I don't think they do conjugal visits anymore.
I actually thought that they could put their butt up against the hole in a wall.
Like a Japanese game show?
It doesn't work like that.
Smells like a felon. Smells like armed robbery.
This girl, guilty of Grand Theft Auto.
Nice.
Incredible stuff. But Lori Vallow is going to jail. They're already saying, actually, there was some reaction to her going to jail already. People are saying that she's going to be checked pretty hard. I was reminded, because we watched so much footage. I was basically a juror. Guilty is what I screamed every time I was watching.
The worst juror possible, because throughout the trial you were screaming guilty.
She's
and then you
guilty!
thought she was guilty, which I did as well. But
She's guilty!
I really don't think we should ever be on any juries because we have a thing called opinion.
We do. But she was, again, nonplussed when she was told the verdict. They're saying she might get checked in jail. But I was watching Dateline. They had a whole new hour and 20-minute recap of a bunch of stuff that they got from the trial.
Dateline treatment.
I love it. I love it. Keith Morrison just being like, and that's the most incredible thing I've ever heard. Like, he's just so funny. He's just a funny little guy. He's got funny ideas.
Voice.
He makes little quips.
He's the only voice I want to hear post-mortem.
Oh, yeah.
I sent you that article where Tom Hanks said, I want to work in AI after I'm dead. No, you're dead. You're gone. Stop taking my jab. Because you know how Tom Hanks and I are competing for the same
every
work.
time. You should have been Geppetto.
Keith Morrison.
God, you would have been an incredible Geppetto.
If there was just one voice that was all consuming, Keith Morrison.
Sure.
He's the best.
I love his voice. He's got that dry sense of humor. He's very curious.
He is.
But if you watch that again, I just forget that Lori Vallow had such a, people believed her. When the cops
mainstream
fucked
media
up that case. So
they did.
Thoroughly. They all just looked at this.
They were horny.
They looked at this woman and they're like, there's no way this beautiful woman could possibly be a murderer. They just let her get away with apps. They let her get away with multiple murders, 5 murders. The interrogation footage of when she's going in after Charles Vallow is dead. And she is just saying these funny stories about how my daughter had to threaten him with a bat because he's like a monster. You know how that is. She's joking with the woman and the police officer. It is unbelievable how far she got. I need to just tap some of that pure white woman confidence. She is just that power that she had to just roll over people.
Really is
Everybody just thought that she was great.
Well, also, we have Central Park 2.0 going on in New York City because they need more drama over a city bike. I watched some footage of that. The power of the white lady tears.
I don't know.
That was a very interesting case where a woman started crying because she tried to steal somebody's bike, and then people were like, well, you're stealing her bike, and then they're like, no, she's stealing our bike. Anyway, what I'm saying is the fake tears can go a long way.
Well, she wasn't. It was the opposite. She was not crying. She did this thing where she acted like all of these stories about this so-called abusive husband that she's really, really afraid of and how he held terror over her whole family. She's laughing. Like it would be like a relatable story, like it's a Jim Gaffigan bit where she's doing that.
Nothing more relatable than that. Kill my kids.
What?
Kill my kids.
What was that? Is that the little Jim Gaffigan voice that voice comes back?
My kids.
Oh, that little Jim Gaffigan voice. You got to stop telling me to kill my family in such a funny and ingratiating style.
That was a brilliant bit, the way that Jim Gaffigan came up with that. So there you go. Chris Watts also working as a custodian, which is a job too good for him.
Oh, yeah, you're back to Chris Watts.
So Chris Watts, Lori Vallow.
Chris Watts is going to be in jail. Lori Vallow is going to be in jail for 100 years. Chad Daybell's fucking trial's not till 2024.
Wow, so they really separated that.
Well, and it's very interesting because the defense was trying to throw him under the bus, but Lori never took the stand, which shows in some way she's keeping kayfabe. She believes on some level.
She believes it. I guess it ain't kayfabe.
The way in my mind, she rolled into prison straight up thinking Moroni is going to arrive. He's going to crack open the top of this room. He's going to save me.
What if he did?
I'm the goddess. I'm the one with the coochie with no hoochie. I'm the one out there just like messing things up with Idaho with my 2 perfect niners.
Well, she's going to have a lot of hoochie because, as we also learned from those fantastic TV shows, Pruno, which I really want to try. Prison Wine.
You keep bringing this
blind.
up. You seriously bring this up?
Supposed to make you go blind. White lightning.
SideStoriesPOTL@gmail.com. I actually would really appreciate your best recipe for Pruno. If anybody has made
it's whatever's in the prison kitchen.
I want to hear some toilet wine recipes.
No, that's a myth.
We're going to do a full taste testing with Ben Kissel. Because
Can't taste any worse than this fucking rock star.
he is obsessed with Pruno. He's brought it up again and again and again.
Try it.
We need to, this storyline, let's give the people what they want.
Well,
because they want you to try Pruno. They want to see you
We're not
throw
making
up.
Pruno in the studio.
It's too late. It is now
It's just not happening.
Side stores, lpotl at
We're a
gmail.com.
fully functioning business.
I'll give you the Kissel's home address, and I'll tell you where to go to help him teach him how to make toilet wine on his own, because he just keeps making toilet soup, and it's not great.
Oh, mamacita. Well, anyway, speaking of soup, this is a story that has no criminal intent whatsoever, but I just think it's funny. I want to tell you about it. Because you know very little about sport, and I like to watch my sport program. I call them programs because I like the drama.
What I like about sport is I like when they're trying really hard.
I do too.
And I like all the hustling.
I like the screaming.
I like the music. I like the snacks. I like all the dynamism.
Same here.
I like team groups.
I completely agree.
Functioning well together.
So you do like sport indeed, because that's exactly what I like. That's why I call them my programs. So, Bo Jackson. He was a sport athlete that was so good, so athletic, he broke his own body with his own talent.
Bo knows sports, but Bobo don't know hiccups.
He has hiccups, and he's had them for a year long.
This is one of the greatest Americans. Bo Jackson is one of the greatest Americans to ever live.
He is.
He truly is. And the fact that hiccups can even come for him shows that it
can come for anyone.
Think about it. Because think about how strong his diaphragm must be. He used to go deer hunting by hand with a knife as training.
And he made his own arrows. Like, he's like, I'm not a huge hunter, but if you are going to hunt, bow hunt and make your own arrows. Then I'm like, you are a man.
Yes.
If you go like Donnie Trump Jr. and you have some motherfucker take a sedated lion in front of you, you're a shithead.
You're a shithead. You should technically be professionally kidnapped. If you've done that weird tourism, big hunting thing, should happen to you. The bag should go over your fucking head. You should be put in a trunk.
I agree.
You should be dropped off in the middle of the forest and let a bunch of rhinos come after you with a bunch of tactical rifles.
We need to remake Surviving the Game, but instead of Ice-T as a homeless man, it was T, you need to get one of these, just scoop up Governor Pataki.
You're bringing up Governor Pataki also a lot recently.
But anyway.
Governor Pataki keeps
No one
up.
even knows who that is. This is a former governor in New York State. Bo Jackson, he has the hiccups. He's had them for a year.
Yep.
His remedy has gone so far
this
as
is
smelling the ass of a porcupine.
No, this is clickbait.
No, it's not.
No, they got us.
It's in the It's in the New York Post.
And I hate to sully them. I never want to question them. I don't want to question their integrity over there. But if you actually listen, because I was excited when I saw the article, I stopped dead in my tracks. It said Bo Jackson smelled butt of porcupine to stop hiccups. I was like, got me. Congrats. Here's your click.
He was on the show. McElroy and Kubelik.
I don't know what that show is.
Yo, you don't know?
No, I don't know McElroy and Kubelik. I don't even know that was the show. It sounds like the lowest rung defense attorneys in Oklahoma.
No, I'm sure it's a great. No, it's Kubelik.
Kubelik. What is that?
I don't know.
What kind of name is?
It's the name of the show. So it's McElroy and Kubelik. And they were talking to Bo Jackson, and he says, I'm getting medical procedures done at the end of the week. I think I'm ready to try a remedy. He says, he's been at the hospital. He's like, doctors are poking me, shining lights down my throat. They're probing me every day.
Yeah, so he says that he's had a lot of different things, but the sentence he said, which is why they're doing this, he was joking around as he said,
you don't joke around on Kubelik.
I guess not, because it has become a viral story somehow, because he says, I'm busy at the hospital, sitting up, doctors poking me, shining lights down my throat, right? They don't know why I have these hiccups. So that's the only reason why I wasn't there, because he was supposed to be at some Hall of Fame presentation.
He was busy with the hiccups.
But he said he's done everything. He's like, Jackson was emphatic when he asked, does anyone come up with a reason why he has hiccups? He says, hell no. He says, I've done everything. Scare me. Drink water upside down. Smell the ass of a porcupine. It's a funny, exaggerated bit that he
when I
just
think of
said.
Bo Jackson, I don't think of humor.
No,
he's actually very serious.
No, yeah, that's the problem, is that we are all looking to him. Times are so tough, and we're already looking to him for some sage advice, and we don't know who else has terminal hiccups at this point. But
that might help.
I've heard the way to really do it, if you want to truly solve your hiccups? Is that what you got to do is get yourself a hold of about 20,000 drones, and you really want to police the mountains of Afghanistan, because I heard Barack Obama didn't have hiccups one time. I don't know what that means. I don't even know why I brought up the drone wars.
Everyone's like, oh, 90% of the people he killed were innocent. 10% weren't. And that's also why
that's what we give our manager.
Absolutely, yeah. That's also why I'm pro smoking. It only kills 10%.
That's it.
So I've done everything. Smell the ass of a pork.
But this is like, when I read this, I was like, yes, great. What is this treatment? Excited to get to the bottom of it. Then I looked up into it. Immediate, like, I'm a fucking moron. I then reread the sentence, and I was like, oh.
He's not joking.
Bo knows sports. Bo doesn't know hiccup. Bo also has some issue with punchlines.
Also, I saw on Shark Tank there was a hiccup straw that is supposed to cure the hiccups, which I'm thinking about getting for Marcus, because perhaps that can help with the diaphragm.
You think that'll help him?
With the diaphragm?
You just want to show up with a bunch of hiccup cures to try to fix it?
Hey, buddy. Give me money. I swear to God, I'm not even sure if he's gone to a doctor. I think he's just seen a wizard in the middle of fucking Skid Row.
Well, I'm going to confess right here, and I don't, because Marcus doesn't listen to side stories. He doesn't know what we say.
Well, he just hears us all.
He just all day long in his head, even when he's asleep and stuff. But I've been sending him messages faking being a doctor, and I have manipulated his genitals and his body many times, him not knowing it's me because of various costumes.
Right.
And I got a fetish for it. This is me.
Yeah.
I'm coming out.
Great.
I love seeing an unasked for pair of nipples.
I love it.
I love watching a man in I love the tiny front dress we're all forced to wear. I love that feeling. I love a sick man's bottom.
You know what sentence you don't get to say unless you're a doctor? All right, why don't you go put this on? I'll come back in 2 minutes.
You can say it, but then you come back, a lot of times no one's wearing the outfit.
Well, it's like one of those weird, like, I got a Thai maid pornos or something. Go put this on. You want to be a maid? There's a little maid outfit, but it's not a maid outfit.
It's never. No, maids don't dress like that. They dress in sweats and a shirt.
Yeah, because they want to clean. They're not cleaning in those videos.
The dermatologist, the last time I was in it, did ask my permission to see my backside.
That's nice.
He was like, so is it all right if we take a look at your backside now? And I was like,
well, yeah, you have to.
You must. But I was like, let me fluff it. Because I bring out my little comb so I can fluff the hair. So I look like Phil Spector.
Right. Do we have any stories about murder or anything?
Well, no, all right. So speaking of uncommon desires, there is a man we've covered here several times, and we've learned, so our audience has educated us in a very, actually very appropriate way, talking about the Somerset Gimp.
Yes,
the Somerset
Gimp. The UK, I believe.
Yes, for those of you that don't know, we've covered this a couple times. The Somerset Gimp has now been, he was arrested this year, finally, by a man by the name of Joshua Hunt. And what he does is that he arrives in a latex suit and he writhes around on the ground and he makes a bunch of sexual noises. Now, we ask perennially here, last podcast and left, we ask all the time, how is this a crime?
How is this a crime?
And it turns out, like, doing that against somebody's will is not nice to do. It's not good to do.
It's not nice, but how is this a crime?
It's just not good to say someone isn't consenting to you writhing around the ground. I actually have some footage of him here. Did we ever show this? Here, I'll show this to you,
I mean, I've seen the Gimp many,
look at
many
this.
times.
If you look at, this is the actions of the Gimp, so you can kind of see why people were freaked out. So he's like rubbing himself on the grass here.
I'm going to go again with how is that a crime?
He's making a bunch of noises. Well, this is where the crime comes in, because you see as he stands
Does he
up.
make contact
This is
with
2018. No, he stands up, and you can kind of see he's like fully erect.
Well, you're not allowed to have a
grabbing at his
boner?
dick and ball. I mean, not in this kind of flagrant way. You're supposed to be ashamed of it.
She's filming him. Whoever that is filming them.
He's doing a performance. He's very hard. But you could see, so people were traumatized by this. He said, I read this one article that kind of goes deeper into it. It's called Unzipping the Gimp, about why people are saying that they're now afraid because they're afraid to say, but so the Somerset Gimp was just arrested again last week. He was just arrested again. Same thing, rolling around the ground, grunting, rubbing himself, going, again.
Sounds like a podcaster. He was
nice
arrested.
Job if you can get it, right? If you can get paid for it, then again, if everyone's consenting, and it's fine.
He was arrested on May 8th. A woman was driving home alone in Bleeding, Oh, I love to live and bleeding.
Absolutely.
And she was
Their
terrified.
heavy flow days are so much fun. The Heavy Flow Festival in Bleeding is off the chain, but you will get blamed for something that happened in a dream.
Absolutely.
Just so you know, it does happen. They will get mad about a tone that you say at the right. If you go to the hot dog stand, they do get mad.
Well, and of course, their neighboring town of Chunkerton is really that's for a flow that has a little extra carp in it. So anyway, this woman who was driving it, she was left terrified after spotting this guy in the latex suit. As we just saw, he's writhing and crawling on the ground. But he's not. He didn't touch anybody.
He's freaking people out.
Yes, but you are allowed to. You're allowed to be weird.
We don't need to debate this. This isn't an Austin tagline. This is way more about people. They're saying you have to be careful.
He's a nuisance.
We're seeking for consent here. We're seeking for consent, but this is not the only dude.
He's fucking leaves.
And no one has to leaves. I've seen Fern Gully, and a lot of those leaves have full song and dance numbers.
I never saw Fern Gully. Did you really see that?
It's boring. I haven't seen it.
Is it really?
Robin Williams is great.
Oh, yeah.
But this is not the only guy. So what this article opened my mind to is that, like, Somerset Gimp is actually a dude that is there's been several of
a way
these
of life.
types, right? So there was one guy who was arrested for a bunch of shit in the early 2000s by the name of Akinwale Orokbieki. Right,
Okay.
who was in London. I believe this term is racist, so I will say, but his nickname was Purple Hockey. Right?
Okay,
That's what they called him because he was very dark skinned.
Okay.
But this guy is fucking weird. This guy was a guy that was, people said that he came out and said people were just upset by the way I look. He was 6'5", 300 pounds.
I understand.
He said people were scared by me naturally, but what he was doing was going up to young men.
They made him what he had to. They made him.
Yes, this is one of the things that he would do, is that he would go up to young men that he'd see, and he'd be like, seems like you're working out a lot, right? And they'd be like, you know, and so, but he'd ask to feel their arms, and he asked to feel their chest, and he asked to feel their leg muscles. And after a while, like, oh, okay, it was kind of
Sounds like you as a doctor.
It was, I mean, again, I'm a paid comedy doctor. You've arrived to the comedy doctor. You want to experience this hilarious, often misinformational sequence with me, but at the same time, we leave with a bunch of great memories.
Patch Adams, which of course, by the way, Patch Adams, the deleted scene of the person dying with cancer, being like, please get the fuck out of here. I'm not in the mood for a clown.
Yeah, that was just the real life scene.
Yes.
That they couldn't include.
I'd be fucking livid if my doctor tells me I'm dying with a goddamn clown nose on.
Yeah, I'd be like, I don't have time for this. Show me your breasts. But he would feel their muscles, but then he would do this. Then eventually he was doing it without people's permission. But his thing was that he would like to do what he called the reverse piggyback, where he would ask men, be like, hey, I want to see how much you can squat. I'm 310. Right? Like
it's a lot.
He can squat me, right?
No.
And so he'd go them on, and he's like, but I do it my own special way. So what he liked to do was get it up on their backs backwards with his face in the ass, dick and balls on the neck. And he'd be like, squat me a bunch. And they would find that to be, he would then be sexually aroused.
Yeah, I would believe
in the process of it.
Why? See, this is, you know what, also position he is in. Perfect position to power bomb.
Yes.
Give him the Sid Vicious. Give him the Vader bomb. His dick is right in your face. You grab him by the old hips.
But then they got you for murder.
No, he doesn't die.
I feel like if you do it, you have to be really careful. But there are some people that wonder. It is very, very strange. This story is
strange.
It just went on for a long time.
Costume trying to get rock hard by having a bunch of dudes pick him up and having get his dick.
I think the reverse piggyback is just as strange. I think it is just as strange because then they had to put a muscle touch ban on him. So they were like in a court said, okay, this is fine. So we're gonna issue what they have here. It is a sexual offenses prevention order.
Okay.
Right. So they said no more touching muscles. You can't touch people's muscles anymore because
what
you
about
can't be
rubbing
trusted.
your dick in other people's faces?
They were like, the thing was, it's like they viewed the touching muscles as the gateway drug to the reverse piggybacking.
Got you.
But he was also attached to a manslaughter. He was attached to a couple other things. But then he just kept doing it. He kept touching people's muscles. He was then found. He was in 2015. He said that he was there doing shit. In 2016, he was doing shit. So he's been around. Recently, in 2023, Adobiecki was convicted at Huddersfield Magistrates Court of driving without reasonable care for other road users. So he was driving around. But this guy's really fucking.
Well,
really
be careful. I would say it's a tough place. And I feel bad for him in some ways that he was born in this place that he has to live, because if you really search for muscles, he's in the UK. It sucks.
World's Strongest Man. The World's Strongest Man I saw, there's a lot of UK guys in there.
Yeah.
You're just talking about the general
I'm talking
guy.
about the general.
Yeah, sure.
Because the American male, at the very least, it's lard,
honestly,
which you can pretend to be muscle.
it seems, honestly, that is way more of a protective measure for them.
If he was in Hermosa Beach, he would be living his best life. If he could go to Muscle Beach, he would just be one of them. Because then also, you know what you need to do when you are working out? You need someone to come and rub them muscles. Otherwise, they get too tight.
See, again, consensual. It's all great.
Well, I know that.
Yeah.
But he needs to go to a place.
Weaponize his skill set is what you're saying.
He needs to go to a place where people would need that as a service.
But it's a transgression that seems to make him the most aroused.
It's the same thing as like the difference between it's a restaurant or we're force feeding you because you're a prisoner who's on a starvation diet. He right now is in.
I don't know if those are the two sides of the spectrum. I've never heard of that situation.
Oh, yeah.
That they say, we're going to force feed you.
Yeah, they do it for starvation diet.
Well, yeah, that's true. They're trying to keep you from killing yourself.
No, but it's torture.
What?
It is torture.
I feel like we've just wandered into a series of topics and you're just saying a bunch of just like very loose conjectures. But yes, I do agree. He should use his powers for good.
And go to a place where they're needed.
Yes, I do agree.
Muscle Beach.
This is not the only guy. There's another guy too.
There's 3 of them?
And there's another guy. Now this one's kind of is also interesting.
Are they part of a union?
They must be. It's all like, I guess it's the subs of London. Because this guy called the Spit Man.
Oh, this is bad.
This was an urban legend. Now the Spit Man was a guy that people were talking about this. There was a guy named the Spit Man.
Not good.
He's down. I was like, well, I don't know. Again, this falls into the weird how is this a crime thing? Because the Spit Man would pay. This is an urban legend. It started as being like, if you're a young man, the Spit Man will pay you money to come and degrade him.
Great. I'll do it. I'll be
spit on him, piss on him, kick his dick and balls. And so for a while, everyone thought that this wasn't real. But then Vice has come. This is 2015. They had a documentary about him where they dug into it, and they have footage of the Spit Man. I'm going to show you.
I cannot believe that Vice filed for bankruptcy after they were doing such unbelievable documentary work.
This is important. So this guy, they tracked down to a young man, and they wanted to get footage of what he experienced. And if you could see right here, I'm going to show you this footage here.
Okay.
Now, what this is a young man was paid this amount of money, and then he taped it because I guess guy decided he wanted to do it, right? So we'll see here. We got the footage.
It's a phone booth. Seems to be.
Here we go. All right. So here.
This is so Vicey.
Okay, you can see here the man's dick and balls are out of his pants.
Right.
And that he is full on tap dancing on his penis,
So
which
the
actually
guy is
not an insubstantial amount of penis.
The guy that is getting paid is the guy who's stepping on this other dude's cock and balls.
Now,
that's great.
Now,
Good
the
for him.
Spit Man came forward, and he's paying, apparently, because this guy says, he's like, anything you want, bruv. Yeah, that, bro. He say, well, yeah, he spot you 5 out of 3 minutes dick torture.
£5 for 3 minutes of work?
And I was doing the math earlier. That's $100 an hour.
Basically.
To step on his dick and balls and really mash him up. That's what he's looking for. It's just interesting to see that there's a bunch of these guys.
I will say, the guy who's getting his balls slammered on is getting a deal as well, because you go down to the Hustler Club in Vegas, you got to pay like $1,000.
Well, again,
so he is getting a deal, but also
those girls are experts. They're also above the age of 18 because
but no one. I don't believe it was children that he was.
Yes,
a
young man.
No, young man, but I don't think that means a child.
It's 15 to 18.
No, a young man is 18 to 35.
This is 15 to 18.
That's what they were saying?
Oh, yeah. He likes a petite feet.
I can get you a petite foot.
Yeah, I know you can. Because, again, we know how to get it properly.
Well, you know who probably has the most...
We can get it above board.
Most petite feet in Hollywood? Roberto Benigni.
What?
Because he won the Oscar.
Well, he's saying he's got
I mean,
long
remember
feet.
the way he walked on all
jumped
the
the thing.
chairs.
I'd say he did long, thin feet. I would say if you want to get tiny feet and you want it to work out in your favor legally, little person.
Maybe. Or
Why you can't have it mash up your dick and balls by a little person?
You've been to more than I, but I have been invited to a couple of Hollywood parties, and I haven't been invited back. But I have noticed that the actor, you are big for actors.
No, I tower over many actors.
You do.
They're jealous of me. They look at me. They look at me and they're like, how does he do it all?
I don't know. But
how does he have that? How does he have so much back hair?
I think
and crush it in the way that he does.
The average shoe size of an actor is 8. And that is a tiny foot.
I'll look that up.
And that's all you need. So I think the guy that's where he's missing the mark. If you just wants tiny feet, you can find a 35-year-old man with very tiny feet and pretend.
Yeah, but
I don't understand why these pedos don't.
Well, it's because they the whole issue is they like when you're upset, which is the sad part about it. Because again, if it was all above board, all of these guys can do whatever they want. You could reverse piggyback all night long if you got the quarters.
Out of all the people we've discussed from the UK in our Gimp segment, because we do our Gimp segments, and I don't want to
Gimp news.
I don't want to step on Kudlik's angle because I know Kudlik loves it. Yeah,
Kudlik, it has to be.
Yeah. Kublik.
I don't want to get anywhere near him in his hiccup news, his fart news, or his Gimp news.
Kublik. The first Gimp we covered is the most innocent of all the Gimps. He doesn't touch anybody. He just rubs his ding-dong in a pile of leaves.
I've already had a bunch of people tell me that they don't like it. So I
don't like a lot of things. I don't like so much. You should see the things I don't like. I don't like that I just spilled my water.
Unbelievable. Already.
But I'm not filing a lawsuit against it.
You can't because it has no lawyer.
And I did it. Well, anyway, I want to tell you this story about miracles, Henry.
No,
because you're demonic. And you're what everyone thinks Hollywood is, and it's really hurting the brand.
Wait, you think that everybody thinks that I'm Hollywood? I don't have any connections.
Well, in our friend circle,
no one will call.
You're as close as I get.
I'm dying to be Hollywood. They won't have me.
Close as we get. You can hold off a couple of months. There's going to be like some strikes. And stuff.
No, I know that's when I come in. Yeah. That's when I'm strongest, when no one's working.
Yes. Possible miracle at a Connecticut church. It's being investigated by the Vatican. No, they're not investigating the rampant sexual abuse, but they are investigating this potential miracle. It's one of the funniest things I've ever read because it's one of the fattest things I've ever heard. The miracle took place at Thomaston St. Thomas Church. So basically, according to Reverend Joseph Crowley.
Because this is in Connecticut.
This is in Connecticut. According to Reverend Joseph Crowley, pastor of St. Maximilian Kobe Parish, which includes St. Thomas, they said the Holy Communion has multiplied.
I don't even know
in the back room.
It's so
Crowley
dumb.
said God duplicated himself in the ciborium.
Suck me, fuck me, you fucking liar.
The ciborium seems like where a lot of kids go to cry. And so he said after communion, God provides. And it's strange how God does that and how that happened. So basically, long story short is, they got more bread than they thought they had. And they said it's because God doubled up the communion. In no way did somebody just accidentally put the double dose of communion back there in the suburbarium.
No humans would ever purchase this many Christian wafers.
If this is a miracle from God, fuck you
seriously.
So bad.
Fuck you.
This is what you did?
We could have used
you gave them more bread?
Many other shit. There's so much other shit you could have handled.
David Elliott. He's a spokesman for the Archdiocese. He issued a statement. Reports such as the alleged miracle in Thomaston require referral to the dicastery for the doctrine of the faith in Rome.
It's really if you look into the dicastery for the doctrine of faith, if this is a weird. Vatican's so fucking mysterious and evil. It's from the 1500s. Now,
are we
what
ever
this
going to cover the Vatican?
I mean, I would love to. I don't know if this series would ever stop.
Is it a lot?
We have talked about doing it, but truly, it's just thousands of years of history of hot garbage. But if you look at what the dicastery is, it started as this I guess it's supposed to defend the faith of the Holy Roman Catholic Church.
Well, they say the dicastery is composed of two main sections. One for discipline when you're naughty, which handles cases of sexual misconduct.
Yeah, the Spank Brigade.
And the other doctrine which it oversees is, quote, safeguarding faith and morals and protecting their integrity from errors.
So their job is to go and say, like, so when every one of these fucking podunk pieces of shit calls up the Vatican,
Hey,
they
the
say,
Vatican
we
ain't
got a
podunk.
miracle here.
This
whatever.
is Connecticut.
And you just, Connecticut is wrong.
Well.
So they go, so they got to call up these guys and they got to come check it. So partially what they have to do is that they have to.
You gotta lick it.
Because the process of deciding if something's a miracle or not basically is more connected to whether this guy, this so-called Reverend Joseph Crowley,
I mean, that's
saw
his
this
name.
so-called. I like to see those papers, right?
Yeah.
Basically, they have to name him a saint. Right, the miracle happened by way of his prayer to a saint for a specific prayer.
Do you have any idea?
So-
That is like winning Top Chef. That is such big street cred. If your priest is a saint, that church is going to be rolling in cash.
That's all they care about.
And of course, let's not forget that's the main.
The last
goal.
new saint was in 2018 by the name of Oscar Romero.
What did he do?
He was murdered. He was a Salvadorian archbishop associated with social justice and progressive theology, right? So but I do believe they have to.
Well, I thought you had to have a
apply.
miracle.
That's what I
That's
do
why that
believe.
one pope was a saint because he didn't die when someone shot him.
Yeah, which is like
So was 50 Cent
Most popes haven't died.
Yeah, 50
When you
Cent, ultimate saint, shot 5 times.
I haven't seen what the actual miracle was.
Well, this is
was it declared a martyr? They said he was a martyr for his beliefs.
Yeah, but
And
that's
they
not a
said
saint.
The miracle was the healing of a Salvadoran woman named Cecilia Maribel Flores, whose husband prayed for the intercession of Romero when she had life-threatening complications from a cesarean section in 2015. So it has to happen after he's dead. So in order to be remade, the miracle has to happen after they're dead, and then they are used as the conduit for said miracle. And then they just decide whether or not that you've done that.
Right.
And but the guys sit around and they put their dumb hats on, they sit and think real hard, be like, ugh, and then they just decide.
Michael O'Neill, he's known as the Miracle Hunter. Sounds like he's looking for a TV show. He said, I'd be highly surprised that they were able to have evidence to declare it truly is a true Eucharistic miracle. Truly had nothing to go on. They would, in fact, release a very generic statement. So Michael O'Neill, the Miracle Hunter, is saying to Mr. Crowley, perhaps you're a liar.
Well, he's going to look into it because, again, there's no way to prove it. He said that some of the most interesting miracles have been when it seems to be connected to the Eucharist, which is what they call the communion wafer, so that they bleed. That's a very common miracle, like the idea of them
blood
bleeding.
from the statue,
Yeah, and
the lump of
crying blood, crying tears, crying statues, crying, that type of style.
There is some funky stuff that happens with statues, but I'm not sure if it's
We want to do a whole.
miracle-related.
Marcus and I have talked about doing a series on miracles because they are interesting. Because there's the very famous one where people went. It's like that they saw Mary in the sky. This is I believe this was because they go the unbelievable. As soon as you look up miracles, they're like when Jesus turned water into wine. Show me the footage.
Well, also, I think that's absolutely adorable because there was a funny little bit about that a performer did about Jesus just wanting to make his mom happy.
With the apparition of the Virgin Mary, there's the one with people flying. There's the Shroud of Turin, which also found out to be a hoax.
Yeah, that was a hoax. They did just find one interesting thing is with all the research they're doing in Jerusalem, they did just find some new little tablets, but I don't know. Anyway, according to O'Neill, again, he's the miracle hunter. He says they got a bunch of good testimony, but there's no evidence, and that's why they're looking for guidance from the Vatican.
Well, yeah, of course,
So,
because
but it's all about bread.
it's just what's the stupid wafers. And they said that they went in, they were like,
It's a miracle.
there wasn't this many in there before, but now there's more. It makes no sense.
What do you mean it doesn't make no sense? It
It's
means that
dumb.
God from above gave them more wafers. Isn't that nice?
It's a waste of his time.
It is.
And this is a waste of my time.
I actually think if this is a miracle, if it is proven to be a miracle, I have less faith in God than ever before.
Yeah, because you could have. So that means you can do anything.
Well,
You can literally
they're
do anything.
starving people all over the world.
You could fix. You could climate change. Make it stop. You do it.
Yep.
You're
Yep.
God.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you invented all this fucking rigmarole.
You know what's
we're all
interesting?
ensconced in.
You know what's interesting? In 1996, when it comes to the Eucharist, they found that there was traces of heart tissue. What? And they found that there was some
that's
blood.
the whole that's
was
the idea of it. That's the miracle that it's called the transubstantiation and proof of it.
Yes. And that was also in Lenita and Socorro in 2008 and 2013. They found heart tissue. And then in Buenos Aires, they found some blood. And then in Mexico, apparently they also found some blood. But I actually think that just means there's something wrong in the factory where all the kids that make the Eucharist are bleeding.
Oh, yeah. It sounds like someone's fucking literally trying to mop up some secrets.
But that would be good if you do work at a fast food joint. There's a bunch of blood in your burgers. Just be like, hey, miracles happening.
Miracle happening every day. The Our Lady of Guadalupe was also a massive. This was the miracle I was thinking of that was, a giant vision of the Virgin Mary, basically saying, come colonize us. And that's how you know it's worth it.
Yeah, Virgin
that's how you
Mary
know it's
ju-
real.
She looks just like the Queen.
Yeah.
Can you imagine King Charles trying to be like, now your country is my country? I'd fucking just gotta
beat his fucking ass.
He's one of the few people like.
Well, they did it on fear alone. They did it all on just this pressure. It's like truly like.
Well, it's very scary.
Psychological warfare.
Yes.
Because I was reading a little about that because I forgot where it was, where it's like you realize I was like when they went Spanish, the capital as Spanish went to essentially colonize Mexico. There was like only like 500 of them versus something like 75,000 people, and they just managed to do it just by like, look at what we got. Mm-hmm. It's beer. You know what I mean? You're
Mexico,
like, what? Like that's what it took. It's magic.
It has a very sordid past with slavery as well.
It is.
Yes, indeed. Well, interesting. Let's move on to farts. Henry, this story I know was really particular to your heart.
Thank you.
You mentioned it before the show, and you said, "Oh, we got big news today, breaking news. Let's do it as our lead."
It was a slow day.
Hop right in.
It was definitely a slow day.
Oh no! I mean, I think we've been at this. We got miracles. 3 gimps.
3 gimps.
A man reported his neighbor to the police because he wouldn't stop farting.
God.
I'm sorry. I know the good fences make good neighbors. Maybe good underwear make good neighbors. In this case, Edward Riley, 44, was reported to the police after he bombarded his next-door neighbor, Simon Joinson, for months with abusive and disturbing behavior. Mostly, Riley would break wind and burp.
Well, I mean, there are other factors here. That's what it is that it was one of those. He would fart and burp at their adjoining wall.
Right. So this is very much like Office Space.
Yes.
Where it's like they're right there. So this is the worst apartments where you hear your neighbor do everything.
Yes. And he covered his door. He barred his door so the guy couldn't open it. And then he kept shining flashlights through his window into his face while he was sleeping because he got close to his bed. So I feel like the farts and the burps, obviously that made the headline. That's a lot.
Well, it's kind of funny, though.
It's kind of funny in its own way.
Riley, he's from Greater Manchester. So isn't that nice? He further threatened Mr. Joinson on several occasions, saying that he would burn his house down.
Yeah, he did.
And adding, I'll put your fucking head through the floor. But the thing is, if he burns down his neighbor's house, he would burn down his house as well. Mutually
I feel like at this
destruction.
point, it seems at this point, he has allowed this conflict to boil over.
Yeah, there's something going on. Yeah, there's something going on, and I don't. This is bigger than farts and burps.
This is bigger than farts and burps. Yeah, because most of the comments, I was looking down the end of the article, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's more." He didn't go. It's not for the farting and the burping. It's for threatening to burn his house down.
Yeah, but
that is why he got called the cops.
It would burn his own house down.
I get that's the thing is it makes you sound extra crazy.
Yeah,
it's when I used to start punching myself in the face trying to act crazy on the streets.
Yeah, they call him the neighbor from hell. I'm looking at him, skinny little weird guy.
Yeah, full of farts.
Yeah, Eddie. They say Eddie is always getting away with this bad behavior, and he does whatever he says he will do.
He's definitely got a smug little smile on his face, like he's full of gas.
Apparently,
he's when babies got a shit.
Yeah,
that's what he kind of looks like.
He does. Apparently, the guy that keeps on getting farted on. He's the father of one.
These guys get all mad.
Yeah,
look at Marcus. He fucking holds that grudge to this day.
Buddy, it's changed his entire personality. The father of one says he could hear the farting through the walls, but again, that's just a neighbor. You got to get a new house.
It's a lot.
There was also a bunch of parties and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, he was in general, he was a bad neighbor, but the burps and farts are the funniest part.
Well, and I guess I could see that really putting it over the edge because it is very rude. I mean, I to smell somebody else's farts.
Well, it's more about you can't smell them; it's through the wall. You're just hearing them.
Yeah,
It's everything else. I think the burps and the farts added sort of an air of disrespect.
Well, that's the problem.
That's what he said. He says it's the disrespect because now you've decided, I'm someone for you to fart upon. Oh, I'm just I'm some diaper boy for you. And meanwhile, he's like, yeah. And he's just like, we'll not stand for this. And then, the more you hear this voice through the wall going, hey, stop it now. Stop it. That's how you're like, it comes to worse ones, yeah. It comes to worse ones because you hear, as soon as you guys begging you to stop farting, stop burping, you're going to double down.
It's really interesting because the more I hear about this, the more I understand that Mr. Riley just wanted to win this war.
He very much so just was trying to drive this to a head.
It all started when a mattress was placed in the wrong bin area.
I hate it. God.
Yes.
God.
And then once that happened, Riley went inside, began coughing loudly. And then you could also hear him burping.
Asshole. Asshole.
So I think the neighbor put his mattress in the wrong bin area.
On purpose.
Riley said, "You know what? Not in my house. Now you're going to get the burp and fart treatment." And that's exactly what happened.
He definitely, it was overkill.
Yes, well, Riley has 19 previous offenses on his record, the majority of which involve breaches of a restraining order against his ex-partner, who he fathered a child with.
Seems none of that really surprises me.
Well, he seems like a horrible person, but...
Yeah, he's a bad guy. So that's why he's not, that's why he didn't become, at first, when I read it, I was like, this will be hero of the week.
Right.
But then no, he's an asshole.
No, he is an asshole. But you know what his sentence is? He's got to do 15 rehabilitation activity days.
I bet you I wonder what constitutes a rehabilitation day.
I don't know, not farting and burping in people's faces for 15 days in a row and then you're fine. He was also sentenced to 24 weeks in jail, but
daily activities, rehabilitation days. You can pick up garbage on the highway.
And then he's got to give the guy 128 pounds.
You know what? That's not too bad. That's what you get. That's probably a pound for each fart and each burp.
Maybe. I mean, it seems I would hope that there was more. But
my issue is that I don't think that this is going to end for them.
No,
if he doesn't move, this is going to escalate to some form of murder.
Oh, it really could. Riley also, there's a picture here in this Metro UK article of him who took a selfie in bed without the shirt on there. And it's a horrible, I hate those selfies. You know the selfie when you're in bed like that?
Well, that is just the face of someone who farts and burps absolutely to a criminal level. Because that's what this is about.
Yeah.
It really is about that. Same thing with all these gimps. Is that just the thinking about sub until it's illegal is such a funny, crazy idea. I'm such a fucking terror bottom that everybody is scared of me. Because that's got to be, because then what they need is some kind of power top. You need a pure top to come in there and fix all of the gimps. I think.
Well, I think the one guy is
if Spitman can be properly loved.
I think this Spitman is most people are doolies, sub and dom.
Some are, yeah, sure, but these are men that like things to be done to them.
Is it sub to jump on someone's shoulders, cock first? I don't know if that is.
I think that it seems neutral. It seems fairly acrobatic. Yeah. It does take a lot of core strength to even get into that position. I couldn't get in that position if I wanted to.
That is true.
And it is frottage. That's the term as well.
Frottage?
Frottage, which means to rub yourself on someone against their will. Right, so it does seem it's a little bit of that. And then once you're in the position of, he's been feeling my muscles, I'm liking this guy's kind of whole swerve, now he's kind of flipping it, then it becomes kind of dom behavior. Because yes, it does seem fairly dominating, put your dick and balls on somebody's shoulders.
Right, there you go.
I've never been there.
There you go. Well, all right, let's do Hero of the Week. There's another story about a dude who ran a local pet cremation service, but he was arrested because a bunch of dead animals were found in his car.
Well, that's the thing. When I was reading that, I was just like, so I guess obviously you're not doing what you're getting paid to do, but you're just like, that's so much so you're just going to put a bunch of corpses in your car versus doing your job and getting rid of the corpses? Because I feel like, don't you want to get rid of these corpses?
It took place in a town called Paducah. And the owner is a pet cremation business in Paducah. Multiple charges have been filed.
This is when procrastination becomes a criminal. This is another one. These are all. These are only like if you take any one of these things to its furthest extent, does it become a crime? They're all like good. Procrastination is fine. As a matter of fact, it's a way of life.
He owns a business called Pause to Remember.
I guess maybe he didn't have the actual cremation set up, and he was lying about it.
Well,
also, Pause to Remember is really sad.
It is sad because I think he's supposed to give them back their bones or something.
Well, you're supposed to get the ashes.
But anyway, in his vehicle, they found 8 deceased animals.
Do you remember when we had that issue? We've talked about this before with human, what's the term? Mortuary scam artists, where they're getting the wrong ashes.
Oh, you do.
And that's kind of
Everyone
probably,
does.
It sounds like what it is that's very controversial. I'm going to say most people don't.
No, we've received emails from, it's the same fucking kiln, dude.
It's very difficult, but you are trying your best.
You're trying your best, but
you're checking as many, you're really screwed. You're sweeping the crumbs out of there each time.
Continuing on with my burger conversation, when you're working at McDonald's, you grill 6 burgers at a time. So what I'm saying is, with the cremation, these bones are touching each other.
You've just said so many things today.
No,
that most people that are involved in any one of these professions are going to be like, absolutely not.
Buddy. People don't care anymore.
But people take it very seriously.
Once you see after your 10th corpse, you're just like, I
am not going to malign the mortuary scientists because they take it very seriously. They take the job very seriously.
Yeah, but just because you take it seriously doesn't mean you're not colossally fucking it up.
Well, that's different.
Ted Kaczynski took it seriously.
That makes no sense. That isn't connected to anything.
That they found 8 animals in his car.
But none of it, man. You just saying this thought doesn't mean you're correct. It doesn't mean that it's over. But yes, he just left the bodies out there. He's doing some kind of ashes Ponzi scheme that doesn't make any sense. I just don't understand. Why don't you just do your job?
Well,
it's harder to run this scam versus doing the job.
It's not even a scam. It's just laziness.
It's just pure laziness.
They just, you know what? You're going to be found out because that smell is. All right, let's do Hero of the Week. So there's 2 different heroes. One is the Kansas McDonald's that just broke the record for the most amount of people ever served in a drive-thru in an hour.
What?
This was in Kansas McDonald's.
Wow.
And they got through 356 cars in 1 hour.
Whoa.
Breaking the informal record for speedy drive-thrus.
No fucking way.
Isn't that something? Because that's a lot.
That's a lot.
360, what was it?
You guys are
356 cars in an hour.
Is it going to be like that time when they gave the guy, what was the thing that they gave? They gave him like $100 McDonald bucks because he worked there for 50 years.
I just read another story about something like that. The guy didn't take a day off, and they're like, "Here's a fucking plaque or something."
They're not going to get any bumps for this, or is it just an informal record? Or
it was 1975.
Does it say anything? Do they get anything?
This is the best they've ever done since 1975.
But what do the kids get? What do the people who did it get? Do they get any bump? Do they get any sort of prize? Does it help at all?
Well, they get to be Hero of the Week.
And you know what? And that's the gift that keeps on giving.
They say, "Bravo, El Dorado McDonald's. This is true heroism." People looked it up. According to Bob Lane, he's the McDonald's owner. He says,
true heroism.
"We looked it up, and the best we could find was 300 customers served in an hour."
That's not even true. It's just serving hamburgers. It'd be different if they were serving it to first responders or something.
Maybe there was some first responders in there. This was in El Dorado, Kansas. El Dorado, also the name of the porn star in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, which I believe is still open. Go get the severed torso that they still sell. Also, honorable mention, there's a sweet dog that thinks it's a fucking... No, wait. There's a sheep that thinks it's a dog.
That's good. And we love a trans sheep.
There you go. Sheepdogs owner who lives in Entre Rios, Argentina, can be heard laughing and exclaiming in Spanish, "Careful, Rolo, you're not a dog. That's
very
sheep."
good. I love all of that. That is completely viable. The heroes really are the drive-thru workers across this great nation of ours.
356 in an hour.
You guys are
That's
really...
a lot, dude.
It is. And you guys, besides, as we've talked about, the mailmen, the food delivery people in drive-thrus, they're really the ones fighting on the front lines for this country,
Absolutely.
fighting for America's soul, feeding our people.
Male, female, male, men, male, female.
Men, all types, every different kind of people needed treatment.
Although that job is going to be automated very soon.
That's why they got to keep putting this news out and say, look how fast we could be, though.
Yeah.
So we can keep them.
Look
how fast we could
It's
be.
not automated yet. That's not an automated McDonald's. Those were people that did that.
You know what they need to do each time? Put a piece of poetry in with the food. Something entirely human.
I think they do.
What's only a thing a human do? Show a titty. Show some dick and balls.
That would be funny.
Right?
Put a little practical joke in there.
Compliments. Give people compliments. You show people.
Or you can razz
no robot can deliver this much sass.
You can razz them a little bit too, because sometimes people like to go to like places like Hunter's Magoo.
Yeah, when
and they're
you
just
go
like,
to
hey, you
Hunter's-
dumpy fuck, you want some chips?
Yeah.
And be like, I don't like it, but some people like that.
See, we have we have Dick's Last Resort, but there is one in the UK that's like, I'm gonna at least put it this way: Dick's Last Resort. At least there's like jokes in it.
They attempt.
There's one, I want to say it's called like Frenchies or something. It's in the UK, and they throw the food on the table, right? Like they throw the food on the table and they just call you like fat bitch.
Yeah.
It's really like, it's like not good. And I was reading, people said, obviously not, but it's very like, ours at least has like a touch of artifice. Like there's something that there is a bit of a performance.
Well, there
to
is
it.
something about that though. Speaking of subs, not just the food, there is something about being like, you like that? Did your mother do that? Like, I don't.
You see, that's
like, my
fine.
mother was just like
Karen's Diner.
Karen's, yes, I was going
That's
to
in the
mention
UK.
Karen's. That's UK.
That's the UK,
I thought that
and
was here.
It's just like god awful. Like it just doesn't look good.
No,
It's
that's where the
now
Gimp's going to eat.
It's blowing up on TikTok.
It'll wear out. Things like that tend to wear out.
There was a viral video of a staff member at a Brisbane branch asking a 14-year-old girl if she was filming the waitress for her OnlyFans,
Yes.
which is you have to call the police.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah, it's just pretty rough. But I do.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? You get what you pay for.
You got to be careful when you go in there. Also, you want to make sure that the partner that you're with at the time knows that they're going to be razzed.
Oh yeah,
because,
I got several letters.
My gal was about to knock that motherfucker out.
Oh, yeah.
Because literally she was like, Olive Estelle. He's like, oh, the girl's drinking. She's like, I'll kill you. What if I fucking kill you?
And you're like,
I was
all right,
you know what? We're gonna go.
all right, we're
gonna
all
go.
we're
We're gonna go.
cool this out.
It's what they do. And then people wearing their stupid hats for 20% off. There's something very sad about it.
It's
But
how it is.
also,
It's fun in games. If you like it, it's fun in games.
Because also we forget some people have very serious jobs.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's funny to break it up with like, no one ever calls me a fat bitch, so now it's on my hat. Like, I get it.
That's what I always miss.
I get it.
Every day I wake up, no one's called me a fat bitch today.
We do it all day to each other.
I do it to myself in the mirror. And it's a running loop in the back of my brain.
It's called being a comedian.
Here's come to listen to email.
All right.
Sucking on toes. Now I listen to side stories and I heard your conversation about sucking on toes that are dirty. I may be able to provide some insight. Now, I've been embarrassed of my feet my whole life. They're sweatier and smellier than the average woman, and my toes are long like an alien. Just recently, I started dating someone who's into sucking on toes. Something I've been naturally opposed to my whole life.
Yeah.
And it turns out, it's awesome. If someone tries to suck on your toes, you let them take them piggies to town.
If he wants to, go for it. Yeah.
And to answer your question, though, yes, there are always a few test licks. You should never just shove a penis in a mouth, right? Toes are no different. Me, as someone who gets their feet paid attention to, you have to be pretty good about keeping those guys clean for expecting any upcoming coitus.
All right, good. Everyone's got the thing. I don't care.
Okay, everybody does. Everybody
Great.
does. I saw several emails of people talking about pranks that they were unduly punished for. One was a group of, which I did like, all of the guys got together and pretended like there was a huge fight going on.
Great.
And then they went and it was two backpacks sitting in the center.
That's
But then they all got suspended. The two kids that had
Leave
the
'em
backpacks get suspended. These kids are
alone.
fucking, it's ridiculous. That's what God should be stopping.
Well,
If he's going to be stopping one thing.
yeah, there's some speculation it might not be real.
Sometimes I sit and I ask God, why can't you stop every war that ever was? But then he showed me his bank account. And then
Yeah.
I understood God's making a lot of money on that war.
There's a lot of money to be made.
And there's a little bit of questions about, you remember we asked the woman who dressed as a clown and she murdered her
In
new
the
husband
80s,
for me,
right?
and kind of what happened and why she got such a crazy plea deal. And you think that what happened is that straight up just fatigue, just what they call like one said
prosecutor
to fatigue.
Yeah.
Yes, that it's been going on for so long, and the DNA was really they didn't have any DNA in true hard evidence.
Right.
And you've been going through all of this process, and it's really just truly just trying to wrap it up
Also,
after so long.
Do you hear about eDNA? I think it's eDNA. It's in the air.
What?
DNA in the air. It's what a bunch of people who love bugs, they look into what bugs have been there from the air.
What?
It's fucking weird.
What does that mean?
Brother, it's like a whole nother thing that's going to lead to a bunch of people incarcerated.
Man, everything can be really found out.
Yeah.
That's why I say keep it clean.
Keep it
All right?
clean.
You can love one thing that you learned today from Henry Zabrowski. Right? Keep it
Keep
clean.
your crime scene clean.
Keep your crime scene clean. No evidence.
If you have time to lean, you have time to clean.
So again, you're sitting basking in the glory. Laugh. You're laughing about how you've just killed your whole family,
Wow.
right? But guess what? Take that moment of clarity that you have from just nutting all over the corpses that used to be the people that you love.
So gross.
And just think to myself, all right, what do I do from here? Right? Because you know what I'm learning about getting older?
That mop and bucket doesn't move itself.
You know what I'm learning about getting older is that every single fucking decade goes by, and I think, you do something for a decade and you think, that's it, I'm going to be doing that thing forever. But guess what? Change does come, don't it?
It does.
All right, all you can do is live. You can laugh. You can
live, laugh, love.
You can. You can live.
You always do it in the wrong order.
Yeah, it happens every time. It's different because I've actually seen.
It's just triple L.
Live, laugh, love in many different orders.
Love, laugh, live.
I've seen many different orders.
That's true.
But then you can just
you never
live
see
that. You
life
can live your third life post family,
in prison, being a janitor, celebrating your birthday.
or maybe not in the way that you want, and you have to learn sometimes beggars can't be choosers.
Indeed. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. And thanks for supporting all the shows here on the Last Podcast Network. We're strong and mighty, and we're doing the best we can.
We're doing the best. This is it.
This is it.
This is us at our highest functioning.
We are the number one second tier podcast network to ever exist.
That's our goal, is to ride that B rating for as long as we can.
Boom.
And we're never going to give up. I'm never going to give
Celebrity
air.
endorsements, not needed.
Don't need that. Fucking, we're just weighing us down. All right, we don't need big time advertisers.
No.
Bud Light.
Who cares?
Oh, you like Post Malone because he doesn't talk about fucking people cutting open wounds and tits and fucking them and they coming inside of them.
I've seen
you're mad about the
Posty Mike.
content?
Posty might. He's looking a little skinny these days. I do love my Posty.
He is looking. I do feel like he could eat more. And then when I watch his live performances, I think he's pushing himself too much. He's smoking too many cigarettes.
Buddy,
it's bad for the singing voice.
I feel old when I see him.
I look at
do
him.
the same thing. I'm like, bud.
I'm like watching him smoke and sing, and the whole time I was like, his vocal cords. Like, because I know how fuck with me. I had to stop. I stopped smoking truly just because I was stopping getting insured in movies because of my blood pressure and because of my fucking voice.
Yes. But you know what? He's young.
I love smoking.
He's still only like 25.
I know.
He's got like another 6 years of
totally
killing his
unobliterated,
body,
just
and
destroying
then
himself.
From there,
so
all you have to do
jealous.
is just like not smoke as much.
Well, then you only do it when it's fun, and then you do a bunch of actions that you know are going to hurt you, and then you just feel that pain.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Hail yourself.
I think we all learned a lot about getting older today. Hail me.
We did. Every day we get older. Magustalations,
It just
everyone.
doesn't fucking stop.
And it goes faster and faster and faster and faster.
Because think about it, man. I used to have an incredible body.
No.
And it has really been difficult keeping the poundage off,
This
man.
is good. You're looking good. You're looking good.
Unbelievable.
I'm getting back in the gym.
Yeah, you're getting into his buddy, Jim.
Yeah, buddy.
Gay.